Hi, good day. Today is the 9th of June 2009 and here we are again with the Forexserve weekly update. It all started last Friday with the US non-farm payroll data, which was substantially better than what the market expected, and that gave a feeling that the US was possibly getting out of the downturn that one has seen it in the last 6 months or so, or maybe even a year, and it would result ultimately in the Federal Reserve increasing the rates. So the initial signs that we seen 2 weeks ago became full-blown last week, and we saw the treasuries getting sold off and the US interest rates moving up sharply, and the dollar had to follow suit. So we saw the euro from 142 coming down to 138, which was basically a target zone, which was met, and then we see the reverse is happening. So the market has not yet decided whether the Fed would actually be looking to raise rates by the end of the year. So this question is never easily answered, but of course the speculative forces would vie with each other to take the market on any one side. We need to be on the right side, obviously. So what we see for a theme going into the next week, starting this week, is a bit of caution and risk aversion to be expected to be on the lower end of the trough. And obviously it would help some of the other currencies, such as the Asians particularly, to gain some kind of foothold in this environment. By and large, we expect the dollar to strengthen in the interim, but whether the longer-term dollar strength based on good US fundamentals would come about right now or whether it will come later is something, like we have mentioned before, is difficult to say at this point of time. But the way it started last Friday, it seemed that there was some signs that it had already started. But if the euro were to break, let's say 137, it would be an indication that possibly wave B has ended, and the pound were to break, let's say 147, 157 to 158. So we look at the currencies in a strategic manner, rather than just be on a view-based agenda. And with those thoughts, we would now like to give you some insight about the rupee, which has, as we have mentioned earlier, been quite a function of the international markets, and it has strengthened. Of course, the 46.90 base, 70, 80, 90 base was supported, and of course we've seen a move almost close to 48 as we speak. But then of course there's been some selling. So overall, I feel the rupee is going to be in a narrow band as long as the dollar is on the weaker side of the trough globally. But once the dollar starts strengthening, it could be another story. We'll look at the charts right now. Thank you.
Hi, we're showing you here this week the Australian dollar on a weekly basis since the rise started in October as risk aversion diminished somewhat, and we've seen how in three parts, if this was considered part 1, this is considered part 2, and this part 3. If part 3 has been seen sort of topping out last week in a rather elaborate shooting star pattern, and its extent has been very close to the 162% mark. So we can say that the last segment was possibly the climax of wave B. We can't say that for sure, but there is a possibility that it has ended here, and if that were the case, then we can see wave C starting down lower, which would basically mean US dollar strength on the horizon. Now we take a look again this week at the US interest rates. We were trying to draw the attention to the fact that 270 was a critical mark that one needed to keep our eyes peeled on. It was at this point that we told you a couple of weeks ago that a break of this and a close above it would mean a very sharp move towards the 350-55 mark, and we are almost upon it. So you can see how the blowout has taken place, and it was like a bat out of hell that the rates just shot up, the yield curves just shot up. And to give you some insight into how the yield curve has really been, we can take a look at the US yield curve, how it has straightened, and the move has been so sharp and so wild actually since the payroll data of last week. Thank you and have a great week ahead.